with the average altitude of 350 meters. Here you can see the cave entrance and surrounding environment, which is dominated by Bistrat stream. This stream does not only shape local environment, but it also affected cave inside as well at some points in the time. The cave belongs to the big cave system, which is connected to this stream. This is the plan of the cave, and we excavated in the entrance hall, which is marked here in orange, and the majority of the cave system, which is quite big, is underwater. This is part of the cave system, which is connected with the stream I showed on the previous slide. With S1 is marked test trench, which we expanded in the later excavation. This is excavation in progress, and this is the view from the inside of the cave, from the entrance hall. First excavation in Zala was conducted in 2000 as a part of the wider rescue excavation project on the route of today's highway, Zagreb-Split. During that short field campaign, late Upper Paleolithic layer was excavated, so that was the reason why we conducted systematic excavations between 2005 and 2012. This was collaborative work of University of Zagreb, University of Wyoming, and Illinois State University, and the majority of the excavations were funded by Croatian Ministry of Culture. During this longer course of the excavation, a long stratigraphic sequence was detected, and it includes several horizons: late Upper Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Bronze Age, Late Bronze Age, Late Iron Age / Roman period, and Middle Age horizon mixed with the recent finds. Series of HAEMUS dates place late Upper Paleolithic between approximately 15,500 and 13,900 calibrated years BC, and Mesolithic between 9,100 and 8,300 calibrated BC. The third date for the Mesolithic seems a little bit too late. The excavated lithic assemblage from the cave counts 1,700 pieces and 704 pieces in total, and in this table you can see the figures for each phase. Several pieces were found in the Bronze Age layer. However, they almost for certain belong to the Mesolithic, as they are found in the Bronze Age layers that are directly connected with the Mesolithic layers. As you can see here, number 82, layer number 82 is a Mesolithic, and 75 is a late Bronze Age, which lays just above it. They ended up in the Bronze Age layers probably as a mistake of the excavation. Some lithics come out of context because we have a serious problems with the statics of the profiles caused by sandy sediments, which were affected by water and freezing between field campaigns. On this slide, you can see assemblage breakdown for late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic, and here I would like to stress clear difference between two periods in relative frequency of blades and bladelets in favor of late Upper Paleolithic. The numbers here are different in comparison to the previous table, as I excluded here chips and shatter. There's also clear difference in blank selection between two periods. More than half of all tools from late Upper Paleolithic are made on blades and bladelets, while blades and bladelets were less often used in Mesolithic. If you look at the typology, we could say that late Upper Paleolithic tool assemblage is typical for late Epigravettian of the Eastern Adriatic, characterized by association of thumbnail end scrapers and backed bladelets. These two categories of tools appear as well in Mesolithic layers, and they could mean certain Epigravettian tradition during early Holocene. The main difference between two periods are presence of big blades, retouched big blades, and unretouched as well, which are present in late Upper Paleolithic, and they do not appear in Mesolithic. But as you can see, these are all small in numbers. So, on this slide are shown selected late Upper Paleolithic artifacts, and among them you can see these big blades, unretouched and retouched, that do not appear in Mesolithic. Some other tool types are presented as well, like back bladelets, few scrapers, few cores, etc. This slide shows you selected Mesolithic artifacts with some hand scrapers, one back bladelet, two bipolar cores, and so on. Although lithic assemblage is not big in numbers, a wide range of raw materials was used. Here are listed all types that are petrographically identified, namely radiolarites, different kinds of cherts, the vitrified tuffs, silicified claystone. They are listed together with the possible sources of origin, and approximate distance from Zala cave. As you can see, the closest sources are at 30 kilometer distance from the cave, and the furthest are approximately 300 kilometers away from Zala cave, located in northeastern Italy, that is Alto Adige. This map shows you position of raw material sources from the previous slide in relation to Zala cave. This number 3 marks the sources from Kupa River, and it could extend like this as they are present in, let's say, middle part of Kupa River stream. If you look at relative frequency of raw materials used, then two main trends could be stressed. During late Upper Paleolithic, there is a high proportion of materials from northeastern Italy. This is marked in blue cone, and in Mesolithic, there is a small. The second trend we can observe is a small incidence of, let's say, local or better regional raw materials in late Upper Paleolithic, and its significant increase during Mesolithic. This could potentially mean changes in mobility patterns of people from Zala cave. Ornaments from Zala are made from snail shells, both freshwater and marine. 3 species were used: Cyclope nerita, Columbella rustica, which are marked here as exotic items in Zala, as they are sea snails, and the third species used is Lithoglyphus naticoides, which is local item, as it is widespread only in the rivers of the Black Sea drainage system, and the area where Zala is located belongs to the Black Sea drainage system. Ornamental assemblage accounts in total 66 pieces. 2 pieces are, majority is found in the Mesolithic, and 2 pieces come from the Bronze Age. Probably there is the same reason for their presence in the Bronze Age as for the few pieces of lithics I already mentioned. If you look at the distribution, there's a clear difference between in species selection between late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic, suggesting possibly different ornamental tradition. Part of this assemblage was published during the course of the excavation, and on this picture you can see on your left 2 beads made of Cyclope nerita from late Upper Paleolithic, and on your right 2 beads made of Columbella rustica shells from Mesolithic. Below them is a fragment of Pecten jacobeus seashell, which is not ornament, but it's an additional line of evidence for contacts between coast and inland areas. This is how modern specimens look like. This is the part of the assemblage made of Lithoglyphus naticoides shells. All specimens were found in the living floor together with fauna remains, lithic artifacts, and remains of fireplaces. This is part of the Mesolithic fireplace. What we cannot conclude from such a context of finds is who wore the ornaments, how was it worn, was it regular or special adornment, why was it discarded, etc. On this map are shown late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic sites in the Eastern Adriatic with beads made of snail shells. And the context of finds from these sites is the same as in Zala. How did hunter-gatherers from Zala get sea snail shell beads? They could got it directly on the coast or through exchange with communities from the coast. This exchange could have happened either on the coast, in the Zala area, or somewhere in between. If you take into account current archaeological evidence, these two marked areas are supposed as a possible sources of snail shells. The outlines of these areas are only approximate, and they could be differently shaped, especially if we think about serious environmental changes that affected Adriatic region since last glacial maximum. If we add into account the data I was talking about, the raw materials, then we can suppose that the area that hunter-gatherers from Zala during late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic used is marked with this dotted line. It's much bigger. And shortly to conclude, lithic assemblage from Zala suggests short visits during long time, high mobility during late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic, and or intergroup exchange. It also suggests raw material procurement oriented more towards regional sources and Mesolithic, and raw material procurement oriented more towards exoregional sources during late Upper Paleolithic. Shell bead ornaments suggest contacts between coast and inland, and clear change in ornamentation between late Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic. Thank you for your attention.